The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, Lord.
As Jesus was leaving Jericho with his disciples and a sizable crowd, Bartimaeus, a blind man, the son of Timaeus, sat by the roadside begging. On hearing that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, "Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me." And men rebuked him, telling him to be silent. But he kept calling out all the more, "Son of David, have pity on me." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called the blind man, saying to him, "Take courage, get up. Jesus is calling you." He threw aside his cloak, sprang up, and came to Jesus. Jesus said in reply, "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man replied to him, "Master, I want to see." Jesus told him, "Go your way. Your faith has saved you." Immediately he received his sight and followed him all the more. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus.
Why do we suffer? It's always a great question. Why do we suffer? For the most part, when people make an appointment with me and we have in the office, it's always because of someone's suffering. It's always. Hardly anyone comes in my office and say, "Father, everything's going great." No, they lay out their pain. And it's always the old question always is why. For all of us who suffer, again, we all suffer. I bet you that question arises, like, "Lord, why am I going through this? Stop it." The reason why, the answer is in our readings today. From the first letter of St. Peter, notice that essentially what Peter was saying is that every single one of us, we are under construction. We are in process. We're not holy enough yet. And so part of the process of growing in our Christian faith, as Paul here says, as he's speaking about how we are a spiritual house, a holy priesthood, to offer spiritual sacrifices. And again, he says we're living stones, we are under construction, and part of the construction of this holy temple is our suffering. There is no other way. If you go back to Genesis, if you recall when Jacob and his name was changed to Israel, remember what that name means. It's profound. It provides great insight into our own suffering. Remember that when Jacob wrestles with God, and the name is given to him, Israel, it literally means one who wrestles with God. Meaning the struggle that we all are enduring with the Lord. Because the Lord wants to take us and He wants to lead us. But we're stubborn. And what the one thing the Lord has to do to us, He has to break our hearts in order to lead us where we do not want to go. In fact, that's what Jesus Himself says to Peter. If we remember, He says, "Peter, when you were a child, you thought like a child, you behaved like a child. But He says, when you grow up, someone will tie a belt around your waist and take you where you do not want to go." Wrestling, suffering. And that is why Jesus in the beautiful gospel today, He praises Bartimaeus. Listen to Bartimaeus, a blind man who was begging, and he hears that Jesus is coming, and he begins to cry out, "Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me." In that one statement, "Jesus, have pity on me," again, behind that statement are years, if not decades, of pain, of suffering, of rejection, of loneliness, of him begging God, "Heal me." And then everybody says to Bartimaeus, "Shut your mouth. Be quiet. Aren't you ashamed?" But then again, for us, all of us who have ever suffered, we know, we don't care what other people think, especially when our pain is so deep. And he cries out all the more, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. Have pity." And then he asks, well, what do you want? Jesus, I want to see. Take my pain away. Now Bartimaeus is ready. The suffering in his life, it humbled him. See, that is why God allows suffering in our lives. It's to humble us. And then when we're ready, it's like baking a cake. When the cake's ready, like, all right, now you're ready. Then Jesus takes him. Go. Your faith has saved you. That is why we suffer. This Christian path we've embarked upon is not easy. But there's no other way.